Let us start with partial methods demo. Here I have opened a project partial methods and already written some code here. So let me show you what code I have written. We are now in part1.cs file and here you can see definition of partial class customer. Within this, I have two private fields here, customer name and customer rating. Next thing you can see, I have a constructor for this customer class and then this is followed by a method print customer which is printing customer details such as customer name and customer rating. Let us open part2.cs. Here you can see partial class customer definition, but here I haven't yet written anything, so presently it is blank. Let us now go to program.cs. Now within this, inside main method, here you can see I am creating an instance of class customer and then I am calling print customer method here. So that's the code which I have written. So let's compile it and run. There we go. You can see it has printed customer name is Prasad and customer rating is 0. So it is working as expected. Now in this application, let us assume that part1.cs is going to be generated and part2.cs will be handcrafted. Here we would like to implement a functionality to have an application hook or a method which can be customized. Let us see how we can do it using partial methods. Let us now go to part1.cs. Let me add here a partial method calc rating. Key thing to notice here is this partial keyword which is saying that this method calc rating is a partial method. Another thing to notice here is this void, so which is saying that this calc rating method is not going to return anything. Also note the semicolon here. So basically it shows that here there is only declaration of our partial method calc rating. Now let us go to print customer method and call this calc rating method here. That's it really. So now we are calling our calc rating method from print customer method. So whenever print customer method will be called, calc rating will be called internally. We haven't yet written any implementation for calc rating method. Let us compile it. You can see it has successfully compiled. Let us run the application. You can see here it has run successfully and it has displayed customer name is Prasad and customer rating is 0. Key thing to notice here is that print customer is calling calc rating method. But as there is no implementation of this method, the rating value is not getting calculated. Also note here that this shows it is not mandatory to have implementation of partial method. You can just have declaration of partial method and even it can be called by some other class method. Let us write the calculating partial method implementation in part2.cs. So let us go to part2.cs. Here you can see partial class customer, and now within this class we are going to implement the calculating method. So let's start partial calculating, and let me write some logic here. Here I am straight away going to initialize the customer rating field with some value, let's say 10. So this is my simple implementation of calculating method. Now let us run the application. You can see that the application has run successfully, and now it is printing the rating as 10. So which shows that our partial method customization is working. Because we provided implementation of calculating method, the customer rating got calculated. Key thing to note here that while implementing the calculating method, I have not done any change in part1.cs. So literally, whatever code I am writing in calculating method is getting embedded at compile time. So this is how partial methods can be used for application customization. Let us now see some important aspects of partial methods. Let us go to program.cs. And now let us see if calculating method is visible for an external class such as program. So C1 dot, here you can see calculating method is not visible. Why it is not visible? It is not visible because it is a private method. Remember, all partial methods are implicitly private. Let me now go to part1.cs and change the code a little bit. Now here I am going to add one more partial method. But now let us see whether this partial method allows us to return anything or not. So instead of void, let me put integer here. Let's give some name, let's say do work. And let's try to compile it. There we go. You can see it has given us an error. What it is saying? Partial methods must have a void return type. So they cannot return anything. So let me go and correct it. So let's change from integer to void. And now let's compile it again. There we go. Now you can see it has successfully compiled. Another key thing to note here is that even if I have not provided any implementation of do work in our other partial class part, still it is compiling successfully. So with this, we have finished our partial methods demo.